Deep beneath the mountains of Skyrim, far from the light of day and the touch of wind, lies a realm that challenges everything we thought we knew about the mysterious Dwemer. In the endless darkness of the underground, a vast cavern stretches across distances that would humble entire kingdoms, its ceiling lost in shadows so complete that even the keenest eyes cannot pierce them. This is Blackreach, and it represents perhaps the most extraordinary achievement of Dwemer engineering ever discovered. When the Dwemer vanished from Tamriel in the First Era, they left behind countless mysteries etched in bronze and carved into stone. Their cities, their machines, their very purpose remained enigmas that scholars have spent centuries attempting to unravel. Yet nowhere do these mysteries converge more dramatically than in the impossible expanse of Blackreach, where the boundaries between engineering and magic, between ambition and madness, blur beyond recognition. The first thing that strikes any visitor to Blackreach is its sheer impossibility. This is not merely a large cave or an extensive underground complex. This is an entire world carved from the living rock of Skyrim's foundations, a space so vast that it contains its own weather patterns, its own ecosystems, its own celestial phenomena. The cavern floor stretches for miles in every direction, dotted with structures that rise like metal trees toward a ceiling that exists somewhere in the impenetrable darkness above. Standing at the entrance to this underground realm, one cannot help but wonder at the ambition required to conceive such a project, let alone the resources and determination needed to bring it to reality. The Dwemer did not simply hollow out existing cave systems or expand natural formations. They carved Blackreach from solid rock, removing millions of tons of stone and earth to create a space that rivals the surface cities of their era in both scope and complexity. The construction of Blackreach represents an engineering feat that modern scholars struggle to comprehend, even with access to advanced magical techniques and sophisticated understanding of architectural principles. The Dwemer somehow managed to create stable support structures capable of bearing the weight of entire mountains, while maintaining clear spans that allow unobstructed views across vast distances. The precision required for such construction, the calculations needed to ensure structural integrity, the logistical challenges of moving materials and coordinating work crews in such an environment all point to capabilities that exceed anything achieved by subsequent civilizations. Yet Blackreach is far more than simply an impressive display of engineering prowess. The underground realm serves as a window into Dwemer civilization at its height, revealing aspects of their culture and society that remain hidden in their surface ruins. Here, in the depths beneath Skyrim, the Dwemer created something that transcended mere architecture to become a complete alternate reality, governed by principles that operated independently of the surface world. The most immediately striking feature of Blackreach is its artificial lighting system, a network of luminescent fungi and mechanical devices that bathes the cavern in an ethereal glow reminiscent of twilight. These light sources, cultivated and maintained through techniques that modern scholars cannot fully replicate, create an atmosphere that is neither fully day nor fully night, but something entirely unique to the underground realm. The quality of this light affects everything within Blackreach, from the growth patterns of its unusual flora to the behavior of its indigenous fauna. The Dwemer understood that creating a sustainable underground environment required more than simply carving out space and installing basic amenities. They needed to establish complete ecological systems, capable of supporting life indefinitely without external inputs. The luminescent fungi that provide illumination throughout Blackreach represent just one component of a carefully balanced network of organisms that process waste, generate nutrients, and maintain atmospheric composition within acceptable parameters. These fungi, known to modern researchers as crimson nirnroot due to their distinctive appearance and unusual properties, grow in patterns that suggest deliberate cultivation rather than natural distribution. Their placement throughout Blackreach follows engineering principles rather than the random dispersal typical of wild plant populations. Each cluster of fungi serves multiple functions within the broader ecosystem, providing not only light, but also contributing to air purification and serving as indicators of environmental conditions within different zones of the cavern. The relationship between these fungi and the mechanical systems that supplement them reveals the sophisticated understanding of biological and technological integration that characterized advanced Dwemer engineering. Steam vents positioned at strategic locations throughout Blackreach work in coordination with the fungi to maintain optimal temperature and humidity levels, while automated systems monitor and adjust environmental conditions in response to changing circumstances. Walking through Blackreach, one encounters evidence of this integration everywhere. Mechanical devices nestle among fungal growths as if they were natural outgrowths of the same system. Steam pipes wind through cultivated gardens where bioluminescent plants provide both beauty and function. The boundaries between the organic and the mechanical become so blurred that it becomes impossible to determine where Dwemer technology ends and their biological engineering begins. The architecture of Blackreach itself reflects this integration of natural and artificial elements. Rather than imposing rigid geometric forms upon the underground environment, the Dwemer designed their structures to work with the natural contours of the cavern while enhancing its inherent characteristics. Walkways follow the subtle curves of rock formations, buildings nestle into alcoves as if they had grown there naturally, and the overall layout of the settlement areas creates harmony between constructed spaces and the vast open expanses of the cavern floor. This approach to design reveals something profound about Dwemer philosophy and their relationship with their environment. Unlike many civilizations that sought to dominate and reshape their surroundings according to predetermined patterns, the Dwemer of Blackreach developed techniques that allowed them to work in partnership with natural forces. Their engineering enhanced rather than replaced the inherent properties of their underground domain, creating spaces that felt organic despite their obviously artificial origins. The result is an environment that challenges conventional understanding of what constitutes natural versus artificial space. Blackreach possesses characteristics of both wilderness and city, of natural cavern and constructed facility. Visitors find themselves in landscapes that feel simultaneously ancient and futuristic, familiar and utterly alien. The psychological impact of such spaces cannot be understated, as they create experiences that exist outside normal categories of human-environmental interaction. Moving deeper into Blackreach, one begins to appreciate the complexity of the systems that maintain this underground world. Water flows through carefully engineered channels that serve multiple purposes, providing irrigation for cultivated areas, while also powering mechanical devices and maintaining the humidity levels necessary for the fungal ecosystem. These waterways represent marvels of hydraulic engineering, with gradients calculated to provide optimal flow rates and distribution patterns throughout the cavern system. The source of this water remains one of the many mysteries surrounding Blackreach. While some of it clearly derives from surface sources channeled through elaborate pipe systems, other flows appear to emerge from deep underground springs whose origins extend far beyond the immediate vicinity of the cavern. The Dwemer somehow identified and tapped into water sources that modern hydrologists have difficulty locating, suggesting knowledge of underground water systems that extended far beyond their immediate construction sites. The quality and composition of these water sources also reveals the sophisticated understanding of chemistry and biology that inform Dwemer environmental management. Different water sources throughout Blackreach possess distinct mineral compositions optimized for specific purposes. Some provide ideal conditions for fungal cultivation, others support the operation of steam-powered machinery, and still others maintain the delicate chemical balance necessary for sustaining the various life forms that inhabit the underground ecosystem. This attention to chemical detail extends throughout all aspects of Blackreach's environmental systems. The air composition within the cavern maintains optimal levels of various gases necessary for both biological processes and mechanical operations. Automated systems monitor and adjust atmospheric conditions, adding or removing specific compounds as needed to maintain the delicate balance required for the underground realm's continued operation. The sophistication of these systems becomes even more apparent when one considers the challenges involved in maintaining stable environmental conditions within such a vast enclosed space. Without the natural regulatory mechanisms that operate in surface environments, the Dwemer needed to create artificial systems capable of performing all the functions normally handled by weather patterns, seasonal cycles, and ecological interactions between different environments. Yet they succeeded in creating not merely a survivable underground environment, but one that possesses its own unique beauty and character. Blackreach does not feel like a refuge from the surface world, but rather like an alternate reality with its own aesthetic principles and environmental logic. The interplay of light and shadow, the subtle variations in temperature and humidity between different zones, the acoustic properties that allow sound to travel in unexpected ways throughout the cavern, all combine to create an experience that is unlike anything available in surface environments. The acoustic environment of Blackreach deserves particular attention, as it reveals another dimension of Dwemer engineering sophistication. The cavern's vast spaces and complex architectural features create acoustic conditions that the Dwemer clearly understood and incorporated into their design principles. Sound behaves differently in Blackreach than it does in either surface environments or conventional underground spaces, with certain frequencies traveling great distances while others remain localized to specific areas. This acoustic control serves both practical and aesthetic purposes. Important mechanical sounds, such as those indicating system malfunctions or operational changes, can be heard throughout relevant areas of the cavern, while everyday sounds remain appropriately localized. At the same time, the acoustic properties of different zones create distinct auditory environments that enhance the psychological experience of moving through various areas of the underground realm. The mechanical inhabitants of Blackreach represent perhaps the most enigmatic aspect of this underground realm, serving as both guardians and maintenance crews for systems that have operated continuously for millennia. The Dwemer spiders that skitter across the cavern floors are not mere automatons, but sophisticated artificial beings designed to adapt to changing circumstances and perform complex tasks without direct supervision. Their behavior patterns suggest programming that goes far beyond simple mechanical responses, incorporating elements that modern scholars struggle to classify as either advanced engineering or primitive artificial intelligence. These mechanical servants move through Blackreach with purposeful efficiency, their bronze bodies gleaming in the fungal light as they tend to systems whose operation they understand better than any living researcher ever could. They repair damaged components, adjust environmental controls, harvest materials from the cavern's natural resources, and maintain the delicate balance that keeps this underground world functioning. Their presence transforms Blackreach from a static monument to Dwemer achievement into a living, breathing entity that continues to evolve and adapt long after its creators vanished. The relationship between these mechanical beings and their environment reveals sophisticated programming that allows them to respond to environmental changes and system failures with appropriate corrective actions. When fungal growths extend beyond their designated areas, the spiders carefully prune them back to optimal levels. When water flows become obstructed, they clear the blockages and restore proper hydraulic function. When atmospheric conditions drift outside acceptable parameters, they activate or deactivate various regulatory systems to restore balance. This level of autonomous operation suggests that the Dwemer designed Blackreach not merely as an underground city, but as a self-sustaining organism capable of maintaining itself indefinitely without external intervention. The mechanical inhabitants serve as the equivalent of biological processes in living organisms, performing the countless small tasks necessary to maintain homeostasis within a complex system. Their programming appears to include not only specific task instructions but also broader behavioral principles that allow them to make decisions about priorities and resource allocation. The larger mechanical guardians that patrol certain areas of Blackreach represent a different category of artificial being, one designed for protection rather than maintenance. These imposing Dwemer centurions move with deliberate authority through their assigned territories, their massive forms serving as both deterrent and enforcement mechanism for whatever security protocols the Dwemer established within their underground domain. Their presence suggests that Blackreach was not simply a peaceful retreat, but a facility that required active protection from potential threats. The behavior of these Guardian units reveals programming designed to distinguish between different types of intruders and respond with appropriate levels of force. They appear capable of recognizing and ignoring their smaller mechanical colleagues while identifying and engaging potential threats to the facility's security. Their response patterns suggest sophisticated threat assessment capabilities that go beyond simple proximity detection to include analysis of intent and capability. Yet even these formidable guardians operate within constraints that suggest the Dwemer understood the importance of proportional response and collateral damage limitation. They do not simply attack everything that moves, but rather seem to follow rules of engagement that prioritize facility protection while minimizing unnecessary destruction. This restraint indicates programming that incorporates ethical considerations alongside tactical imperatives, reflecting a level of moral sophistication that challenges assumptions about the nature of artificial intelligence. The interaction between different classes of mechanical beings within Blackreach creates a complex social structure that mirrors many aspects of biological ecosystems. The smaller maintenance units defer to the larger guardians in matters of security while maintaining autonomy in their specialized functions. The guardians, in turn, appear to recognize and protect the maintenance units as valuable resources necessary for facility operation. This cooperation between artificial beings suggests programming that incorporates concepts of mutual dependence and collective benefit. Moving through the various districts of Blackreach, one encounters evidence of specialization and division of labor that reflects sophisticated urban planning principles. Different areas of the cavern serve distinct functions, with residential zones, industrial facilities, research areas, and agricultural sections, each optimized for their specific purposes. The layout of these districts reveals careful consideration of traffic patterns, resource distribution, and environmental requirements, creating an urban design that maximizes efficiency while maintaining livability. The residential areas of Blackreach provide insights into Dwemer domestic life that are largely absent from surface ruins. Here, in spaces designed for long-term habitation rather than temporary occupation, the Dwemer created environments that balanced privacy with community interaction, individual expression with collective efficiency. The architecture of these living spaces reflects understanding of psychological needs that go beyond mere physical requirements, incorporating elements designed to maintain mental health and social cohesion within an enclosed environment. The scale and sophistication of these residential facilities suggests that Blackreach was intended to house a substantial population for extended periods. The variety of accommodation types, from modest individual quarters to larger family units, indicates planning for diverse demographic needs and social structures. Common areas designed for social interaction, recreation, and cultural activities reveal the Dwemer's recognition that successful long-term underground habitation required attention to social and psychological factors alongside physical necessities. The industrial zones of Blackreach showcase Dwemer manufacturing capabilities at their most impressive, with facilities designed to process raw materials extracted from the surrounding rock into finished goods necessary for underground life. The scale of these operations suggests production capabilities that exceeded the immediate needs of Blackreach's population, raising questions about the intended scope and duration of Dwemer underground operations. These facilities appear designed to support not merely survival, but continued technological advancement and expansion. The integration of manufacturing processes with environmental systems reveals the holistic approach that characterized Dwemer engineering throughout Blackreach. Industrial waste products serve as inputs for other processes. Heat generated by manufacturing operations contributes to climate control systems, and byproducts of production serve as nutrients for the biological components of the caverns ecosystem. This circular economy approach minimized waste while maximizing the utility of every resource available within the underground environment. The research facilities scattered throughout Blackreach provide the most tantalizing glimpses into Dwemer scientific pursuits and the projects that may have ultimately led to their mysterious disappearance. These laboratories and workshops contain equipment and experimental setups that suggest investigations into fundamental questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and existence itself. The sophistication of their research apparatus indicates capabilities that push the boundaries of what was possible within the technological frameworks of their era. The subjects of Dwemer research in Blackreach appear to have focused heavily on the intersection between technology and consciousness, with particular emphasis on questions of artificial intelligence, soul manipulation, and the boundaries between mechanical and biological existence. Equipment found in these facilities suggests experiments involving the transfer of consciousness between different substrates, the creation of artificial souls, and the exploration of planes of existence beyond the conventional understanding of mundus. These research directions provide crucial context for understanding the ultimate fate of the Dwemer and their apparent mass disappearance from Tamriel. The facilities in Blackreach suggest that their investigations had reached levels of sophistication that allowed them to contemplate fundamental alterations to their mode of existence. Whether these experiments succeeded, failed catastrophically, or achieved results beyond their creators' intentions remains one of the great mysteries of Tamrielic history. The agricultural zones of Blackreach demonstrate Dwemer capabilities in biological engineering that rival their mechanical achievements. Here, they developed techniques for cultivating food crops and other necessary biological materials under conditions that would challenge even modern agricultural science. The variety and productivity of these cultivation areas suggest agricultural systems capable of supporting substantial populations indefinitely without external inputs. The techniques employed in these agricultural zones go far beyond simple underground farming to encompass sophisticated biotechnology that modified existing plant species and potentially created entirely new organisms optimized for underground cultivation. The results include crops with enhanced nutritional content, accelerated growth cycles, and improved adaptation to the unique environmental conditions of Blackreach. These achievements represent biological engineering capabilities that equal or exceed the Dwemer's well-documented mechanical expertise. The relationship between these agricultural innovations and the broader ecosystem of Blackreach reveals the depth of Dwemer understanding regarding biological interconnections and environmental balance. Every cultivated species served multiple functions within the underground environment, contributing not only to nutrition but also to air purification, waste processing, and maintenance of the delicate chemical equilibrium that sustained life throughout the cavern. The placement of agricultural zones throughout Blackreach follows patterns that optimize both production efficiency and environmental integration, creating food production systems that enhance rather than disrupt the broader ecological balance. The diversity of crops and biological materials produced in these zones suggests preparation for complete independence from surface resources. Beyond basic food production, the Dwemer cultivated plants that provided materials for textiles, medicines, dyes, and various industrial applications. This comprehensive approach to biological resource management indicates planning for sustained underground civilization that would require no external support for any aspect of daily life or technological advancement. The most remarkable aspect of Dwemer agricultural engineering lies in their development of symbiotic relationships between different species that created self-sustaining biological cycles. Waste products from one cultivation area served as nutrients for another, while the atmospheric effects of different plant species combined to maintain optimal air composition throughout the agricultural zones. These biological systems operated with the same precision and reliability as their mechanical counterparts, suggesting integration of living and artificial components into unified operational frameworks. The water management systems that support these agricultural areas represent marvels of hydraulic engineering that rival any surface irrigation project in their sophistication and efficiency. Underground channels distribute water throughout the cultivation zones with precision that ensures optimal moisture levels for different crop types while preventing waste or oversaturation. The mineral content of irrigation water varies between different agricultural areas, indicating water treatment systems capable of adjusting chemical composition to meet the specific needs of different biological processes. The lighting systems that support plant growth throughout the agricultural zones demonstrate advanced understanding of photosynthetic processes and the specific wavelengths required for optimal plant development. The Dwemer created artificial lighting that not only sustained plant growth but enhanced it, producing crops with characteristics that exceeded what would be possible under natural surface conditions. These lighting systems operate in coordination with the broader illumination network of Blackreach, creating day and night cycles that support both plant physiology and human psychological needs. Moving beyond the immediate practical considerations of food production, the agricultural zones of Blackreach served as testing grounds for biological experiments that pushed the boundaries of what was possible through selective breeding and genetic manipulation. Evidence suggests that the Dwemer developed techniques for modifying plant characteristics that went far beyond conventional agricultural practices, creating organisms with properties that bordered on the magical. These experimental crops possessed enhanced nutritional profiles, resistance to diseases that affected their natural counterparts, and growth characteristics optimized for underground cultivation. The integration of these biological innovations with mechanical systems throughout Blackreach created hybrid technologies that combined the adaptability of living organisms with the reliability of engineered devices. Mechanical systems monitored and adjusted growing conditions in response to plant needs, while biological processes provided power and materials for mechanical operations. This symbiotic relationship between living and artificial components represents perhaps the most sophisticated example of biotechnology integration achieved by any civilization in Tamrielic history. The preservation and storage systems developed for agricultural products reveal understanding of food science and nutrition that enabled the Dwemer to maintain optimal dietary standards throughout extended periods of underground habitation. These systems employed both mechanical refrigeration and biological preservation techniques, creating storage facilities capable of maintaining food quality for extended periods without degradation. The variety of preservation methods suggests preparation for different scenarios, from routine long-term storage to emergency situations requiring extended survival on stored resources. The distribution networks that moved agricultural products throughout Blackreach demonstrate logistical planning that coordinated production, processing, storage, and consumption across the entire underground complex. These networks operated with efficiency that minimized waste, while ensuring equitable distribution of resources to all areas of the cavern. The automation of many distribution processes reduced labor requirements while maintaining consistent supply chains that supported stable population centers throughout the underground realm. The transportation systems of Blackreach represent engineering achievements that enabled efficient movement of people, materials, and resources across the vast distances of the underground realm. The Dwemer created networks of elevated walkways, mechanical lifts, and automated transport systems that connected different areas of the cavern while minimizing energy expenditure and travel time. These systems operated with reliability that supported the complex logistics required for maintaining civilization within such an extensive underground environment. The elevated walkways that traverse Blackreach provide both practical transportation routes and architectural elements that enhance the aesthetic experience of the underground realm. These structures span enormous distances while maintaining structural integrity that has endured for millennia, testament to engineering capabilities that combined advanced materials science with sophisticated understanding of structural mechanics. The walkways follow routes that provide optimal access to different areas of the cavern, while offering spectacular views of the underground landscape. The mechanical lift systems that connect different levels of Blackreach demonstrate automation technologies that operated independently of human oversight while maintaining perfect safety records throughout their operational history. These lifts transported both people and cargo with efficiency that supported the vertical distribution networks necessary for optimal utilization of the cavern's three-dimensional space. The power systems that operate these lifts integrate seamlessly with the broader energy infrastructure of Blackreach, drawing power from multiple sources while contributing to overall system efficiency. The automated transport systems that move materials throughout Blackreach employed technologies that anticipated modern concepts of robotics and artificial intelligence while achieving reliability that exceeded many contemporary systems. These transport networks operated continuously, moving resources from production areas to consumption sites with precision that minimized waste and maximized efficiency. The integration of these systems with the broader infrastructure of Blackreach created logistics networks that supported complex economic activities within the underground environment. The communication systems that coordinated activities throughout Blackreach reveal understanding of information networks that enabled effective management of complex operations across vast distances. The Dwemer developed techniques for transmitting messages and data throughout the cavern using both mechanical and magical means, creating communication networks that supported coordination between different areas and activities. These systems operated with reliability that enabled real-time management of resources, personnel, and operations throughout the underground realm. The acoustic properties of Blackreach played crucial roles in these communication systems, with architectural features designed to enhance the transmission of specific types of information while filtering out unnecessary noise. The Dwemer understood how sound traveled through their underground environment and incorporated this knowledge into communication protocols that maximized efficiency while maintaining clarity. Different areas of the cavern possessed distinct acoustic signatures that aided in navigation and identification of locations within the vast underground space. The energy systems that powered all aspects of Blackreach represent perhaps the most impressive achievement of Dwemer engineering, providing reliable power for mechanical systems, environmental control, transportation networks, and all other technological requirements of underground civilization. These energy systems drew power from multiple sources, including geothermal energy, water power, and more exotic sources that modern scholars struggle to identify or understand. The integration of different power sources created redundant systems that ensured continuous operation even during maintenance or unexpected failures. The geothermal energy systems tap into the natural heat sources that exist deep beneath Skyrim's surface, using techniques that maximized energy extraction while minimizing environmental impact. The Dwemer developed methods for accessing and utilizing geothermal energy that went far beyond simple heating applications, creating power generation systems that provided electricity for lighting, mechanical operations, and environmental control throughout Blackreach. These systems operated with efficiency that extracted maximum energy from available heat sources while maintaining sustainable extraction rates. The hydroelectric systems that harness the power of water flowing through Blackreach demonstrate engineering capabilities that optimized energy generation while maintaining the water distribution networks necessary for other aspects of underground life. These systems generated substantial amounts of power from water sources that also served agricultural, domestic, and industrial needs, creating integrated utility networks that maximize the value of every available resource. The efficiency of these power generation systems enabled energy-intensive operations, while maintaining sustainable resource consumption patterns. The exotic energy sources employed by the Dwemer in Blackreach remain largely mysterious to modern researchers, involving technologies that appear to draw power from sources beyond conventional understanding. Evidence suggests that some power systems in Blackreach utilize principles related to soul energy, dimensional interfaces, or other esoteric sources that push the boundaries of what was considered possible within conventional magical and technological frameworks. These systems provided power for the most advanced operations within Blackreach, while operating with stability that suggests sophisticated understanding of forces that remain largely theoretical to contemporary scholars. The storage and distribution systems for energy throughout Blackreach created power grids that rivaled modern electrical networks in their sophistication and exceeded them in reliability. These systems distributed power throughout the underground realm with efficiency that minimized losses while maintaining consistent supply to all areas, regardless of demand fluctuations. The automated control systems that managed power distribution responded to changing requirements with precision that optimized energy utilization while preventing overloads or shortages. The integration of all these systems within Blackreach created a technological ecosystem that operated as a unified organism, with each component supporting and enhancing the others in ways that maximized overall efficiency and capability. The Dwemer achieved levels of systems integration that enabled complex operations while maintaining sustainability and reliability over extended periods. This holistic approach to engineering created an underground civilization that not only survived but thrived in an environment that would challenge even modern technological capabilities. The social and cultural systems that developed within Blackreach reflect adaptations to underground life that maintained Dwemer civilization while incorporating changes necessary for long-term subterranean existence. The evidence suggests that Blackreach supported not merely survival, but continued cultural development and technological advancement, creating a society that evolved beyond its surface origins while maintaining essential characteristics of Dwemer identity. The space is designed for social interaction, cultural activities, and intellectual pursuits, indicate recognition that successful underground civilization required attention to psychological and social needs, alongside physical requirements. The governmental and administrative systems that managed Blackreach operations demonstrate organizational capabilities that coordinated complex activities across vast areas while maintaining efficient decision-making processes. The Dwemer developed management structures that balance centralized control with local autonomy, creating administrative frameworks that optimized resource allocation while maintaining responsiveness to changing conditions. These systems operated with efficiency that supported stable governance throughout the extended periods of underground habitation. The educational and knowledge preservation systems within Blackreach reveal commitment to maintaining and advancing Dwemer intellectual traditions while adapting to the unique requirements of underground existence. Libraries, workshops, and teaching facilities throughout the cavern supported continued learning and innovation, ensuring that knowledge and skills necessary for underground civilization were preserved and transmitted to future generations. These educational systems incorporated both traditional Dwemer knowledge and new insights developed specifically for underground applications. The mysteries that surround Blackreach extend beyond its impressive engineering achievements to encompass questions about its ultimate purpose and the role it played in the events that led to the Dwemer's disappearance. The scale and sophistication of the underground realm suggest preparation for scenarios that went beyond temporary refuge or resource extraction, indicating planning for permanent underground civilization, or perhaps something even more ambitious. The research facilities and experimental equipment found throughout Blackreach hint at projects that may have fundamentally altered the nature of Dwemer existence itself. The deeper mysteries of Blackreach become more apparent as one ventures beyond the main thoroughfares into areas that clearly serve specialized functions whose exact nature remains tantalizingly unclear. These peripheral zones contain equipment and architectural features that suggest purposes extending far beyond the practical necessities of underground civilization. The concentration of unusual devices and experimental apparatus in these areas indicates that Blackreach served as more than simply a refuge or alternative habitat, but rather as a center for investigations that may have pushed the very boundaries of reality itself. The most enigmatic of these specialized areas lies in what modern explorers have termed the deep chambers, vast spaces carved even further into the bedrock beneath the main cavern floor. Access to these chambers requires navigating increasingly complex networks of passages that seem designed as much to discourage casual exploration as to provide functional access routes. The architecture becomes progressively more unusual as one descends, with geometric patterns and structural elements that follow principles not evident elsewhere in Dwemer construction. Within these deeper levels, the familiar bronze and stone construction of typical Dwemer architecture gives way to materials and building techniques that challenge conventional understanding of their technological capabilities. Walls composed of substances that appear metallic, yet possess properties unlike any known metals, surfaces that maintain consistent temperatures regardless of environmental conditions, and structural elements that seem to defy conventional understanding of engineering. Principles create environments that feel increasingly alien as one moves away from the more familiar upper levels. The atmospheric conditions within these deeper chambers differ markedly from the carefully regulated environment of the main cavern. Temperature variations follow patterns that suggest artificial climate control systems operating according to principles distinct from those employed in the residential and agricultural areas. Air composition measurements reveal trace elements and compounds not found elsewhere in Blackreach, indicating either specialized atmospheric processing systems or the presence of materials that actively alter their surrounding environment through unknown mechanisms. The lighting in these deeper areas takes on characteristics that distinguish it from the fungal and mechanical illumination systems used throughout the main cavern. Here, light sources embedded within the walls themselves provide illumination that possesses qualities unlike either natural or conventional artificial light. This illumination creates visual effects that can be disorienting to surface dwellers, with shadows that seem to move independently of their casting objects and reflections that appear slightly displaced from their sources. Moving through these deeper chambers, one encounters evidence of experiments and investigations that clearly operated on scales and timescales far exceeding typical research projects. Apparatus of enormous size and complexity fills chambers that would dwarf most surface buildings, with components that appear designed to manipulate forces and energies on scales that would affect entire regions rather than localized areas. The purpose of these massive installations remains mysterious, but their scale suggests ambitions that extended far beyond conventional technological development. The preservation of these experimental installations reveals remarkable foresight in their construction. Despite millennia of abandonment, the apparatus remains in conditions that suggest either extraordinary durability in their materials and construction, or the presence of automated maintenance systems that continue to function long after their creators vanished. Some devices show signs of having operated recently, with wear patterns and energy residues that indicate activity within historical rather than geological timescales. The relationship between these deeper installations and the surface world becomes increasingly apparent through subtle indicators that suggest monitoring and influence systems designed to observe and potentially affect events far beyond the confines of Blackreach itself. Communication equipment of sophisticated design appears capable of receiving and transmitting information across vast distances, possibly extending to other Dwemer installations throughout Tamriel, or even beyond conventional geographical boundaries. The discovery of what appear to be dimensional manipulation devices within these deeper chambers provides crucial insights into the advanced theoretical understanding that guided Dwemer research in their final period. These installations suggest investigations into the fundamental nature of space and time that parallel the most advanced magical research conducted by contemporary scholars, yet approach these subjects through technological rather than mystical methodologies. The integration of magical and technological principles in these devices represents synthesis that modern researchers struggle to comprehend fully. Evidence suggests that the Dwemer of Blackreach achieved breakthrough understanding in areas that bridge the gap between conventional physics and metaphysical principles. Apparatus found in these chambers appears designed to manipulate probability itself, to alter the fundamental constants that govern reality within localized areas, and to create interfaces between different planes of existence. The implications of such capabilities for understanding the Dwemer disappearance are profound and deeply troubling. The temporal manipulation equipment discovered in several chambers indicates research into the nature of time that may have progressed beyond theoretical investigation into practical application. Devices that appear designed to accelerate, decelerate, or even reverse temporal flow within confined areas suggest capabilities that would fundamentally alter the relationship between cause and effect. The potential consequences of such temporal manipulation extend far beyond the immediate effects on the operators to encompass paradoxes that could affect the stability of reality itself. The soul manipulation apparatus found throughout these deeper levels provides perhaps the most disturbing insights into the final phase of Dwemer research. Equipment designed to extract, analyze, modify, and transfer soul energy between different substrates suggests investigations that challenge the fundamental nature of consciousness and identity. The scale and sophistication of these installations indicate research programs that involved substantial numbers of subjects and extended experimental protocols that may have continued for decades or centuries. The relationship between these soul manipulation experiments and the mechanical inhabitants of Blackreach takes on new significance when viewed in the context of the deeper research programs. The sophisticated behavioral patterns exhibited by the Dwemer spiders and centurions may represent not simply advanced programming, but actual consciousness transfer from organic to mechanical substrates. The implications of successful consciousness transfer technology for understanding the fate of the Dwemer population are staggering and provide potential explanations for their apparent mass disappearance. The integration of consciousness transfer technology with the dimensional manipulation apparatus suggests research directions that push beyond individual consciousness modification toward collective transformation of entire populations. Evidence indicates that the Dwemer may have developed techniques for transferring not just individual souls, but entire civilizations between different planes of existence or states of being. Such capabilities would provide mechanisms for the mass disappearance that characterizes the end of Dwemer civilization, while explaining the continued operation of their automated systems. The environmental monitoring systems that operate throughout these deeper chambers reveal sophisticated understanding of the interconnections between different types of reality manipulation. Sensors that detect dimensional stability, temporal flow rates, probability fluctuations, and soul energy concentrations create monitoring networks that track the effects of experimental activities on multiple levels of reality simultaneously. The data collection capabilities of these systems suggest research programs that operated with scientific rigor, despite investigating subjects that challenge conventional understanding of natural law. The safety systems integrated throughout these experimental facilities reveal awareness of the dangers inherent in reality manipulation research while demonstrating confidence in their ability to control and contain potentially catastrophic effects. Emergency containment systems designed to isolate dimensional breaches, temporal anomalies, and soul energy releases indicate preparation for scenarios that could threaten not only the immediate research areas, but potentially the stability of reality itself within significant geographical regions. The fail-safe mechanisms built into the most dangerous experimental apparatus suggest that the Dwemer understood the risks inherent in their research while remaining committed to pursuing investigations that pushed the boundaries of what was possible within conventional reality frameworks. These systems appear designed to automatically terminate experiments and restore normal conditions if predetermined danger thresholds were exceeded, indicating operational protocols that balanced ambitious research goals with responsible risk management. The coordination systems that linked these deeper research facilities with the broader infrastructure of Blackreach reveal integration that allowed experimental activities to draw upon the full resources of the underground civilization, while maintaining operational security that protected the general population from potential dangers. Communication networks that could be instantly severed, resource distribution systems that could be rapidly redirected, and evacuation procedures that could clear entire areas within moments, demonstrate planning that anticipated scenarios requiring immediate response to experimental emergencies. The documentation systems that recorded experimental procedures and results throughout these facilities provide tantalizing glimpses into the theoretical frameworks that guided Dwemer research while remaining frustratingly incomplete due to the specialized nature of their notation systems and the advanced concepts they attempted to describe. The surviving records suggest research programs that progress through carefully planned phases toward ultimate goals that may have involved the complete transformation of Dwemer civilization into something fundamentally different from conventional mortal existence. The progression of experimental phases evident in these records indicates research that began with investigations into the nature of consciousness and reality that gradually evolved toward practical applications of increasing scope and ambition. Early experiments appear to have focused on understanding the mechanisms that govern soul energy and its interaction with physical matter, while later research developed techniques for manipulating these interactions to achieve specific effects. The final phases of documented research suggest attempts to apply these techniques on scales that would affect entire populations simultaneously. The theoretical models that guided this research reveal understanding of cosmological principles that exceeded the knowledge available to most contemporary scholars and magical practitioners. The Dwemer developed comprehensive theories regarding the nature of reality that integrated physical, magical, and metaphysical principles into unified frameworks that explained phenomena ranging from individual consciousness to the fundamental structure of existence itself. These theoretical achievements provided the foundation for practical applications that challenged every assumption about the limitations of mortal capabilities. The relationship between these theoretical advances and the practical technologies developed to implement them demonstrates synthesis of knowledge and capability that represents perhaps the greatest intellectual achievement in Tamrielic history. The Dwemer succeeded in creating technologies that operated according to principles they themselves had discovered through investigation of the deepest mysteries of existence. The implications of such achievements for understanding the potential of mortal consciousness and technological development are profound. The ultimate fate of these research programs remains mysterious, with evidence suggesting that they either achieved complete success in ways that transcended conventional understanding of success and failure, or failed catastrophically in ways that affected not only the immediate participants, but the entire Dwemer civilization. The sudden cessation of all experimental activity coinciding with the mass disappearance of the Dwemer suggests that these research programs played central roles in whatever transformation or catastrophe befell their civilization. The preservation of these facilities in their current state suggests that whatever happened to the Dwemer occurred suddenly and without warning, interrupting ongoing research activities and leaving experiments in various stages of completion. The absence of signs of struggle or deliberate shutdown procedures indicates that the disappearance was either voluntary and coordinated or completely unexpected by those involved. The continued operation of automated systems suggests that the departure was intended to be temporary or that the Dwemer expected to return in some form. The implications of these discoveries for understanding the broader mystery of Dwemer disappearance extend beyond simple explanations involving technological accidents or magical experiments gone wrong. The sophistication and scope of the research conducted in Blackreach suggest that the Dwemer achieved capabilities that fundamentally altered their relationship with reality itself. Whether they used these capabilities to transcend the limitations of conventional existence, accidentally triggered transformations they could not control, or deliberately chose. Transformation over conventional mortality remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of Tamrielic history. The continued operation of Blackreach's systems long after the disappearance of its creators demonstrates the remarkable foresight and engineering capabilities that characterized Dwemer civilization at its height. The automated systems that maintain environmental conditions, defend against intruders, and preserve the experimental apparatus suggest planning that anticipated extended periods of absence while maintaining readiness for eventual return. Whether this return will involve the original Dwemer in recognizable form or something fundamentally different remains an open question that haunts every exploration of their underground realm. The legacy of Blackreach extends beyond its immediate historical significance to encompass questions about the nature of technological development and the relationship between knowledge and responsibility. The Dwemer achievements in reality manipulation demonstrate capabilities that challenge assumptions about the limitations of mortal science and technology, while raising profound questions about the wisdom of pursuing such knowledge without adequate understanding of its ultimate consequences. The lessons embedded within the ruins of Blackreach speak to fundamental questions about the relationship between ambition and wisdom, between the pursuit of knowledge and the acceptance of limitation. The Dwemer pushed the boundaries of what was possible within conventional reality frameworks and achieved breakthroughs that exceeded the dreams of most civilizations. Yet their ultimate fate suggests that even the greatest achievements carry risks that may exceed the capabilities of their creators to anticipate or control. The exploration of Blackreach continues to yield new insights into Dwemer capabilities and intentions, while raising increasingly complex questions about their ultimate fate and the implications of their achievements for understanding the nature of reality itself. Each discovery within the underground realm adds another piece to a puzzle whose complete picture may challenge every assumption about the limitations of mortal existence and the boundaries between the possible and the impossible. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Blackreach, we find ourselves confronting questions that extend far beyond historical curiosity to encompass fundamental issues about the nature of consciousness, reality, and the ultimate destiny of intelligent beings who push beyond the boundaries of conventional existence. The Dwemer legacy preserved within this underground realm serves as both inspiration and warning, demonstrating the heights that mortal achievement can reach, while reminding us that even the greatest accomplishments carry consequences that may extend far beyond their creators' intentions or understanding. The deeper we venture into Blackreach's most secluded chambers, the more we encounter evidence of something that transcends mere technological achievement. Here, carved into the living rock far beneath even the deepest foundations of the main cavern, lie spaces that seem to exist outside the normal flow of time and causality. These chambers possess an otherworldly quality that suggests the Dwemer's final experiments pushed beyond the boundaries of conventional reality into realms that challenge our very understanding of existence itself. The architectural features within these deepest levels abandon all pretense of conventional design principles. Corridors bend in ways that seem to violate geometric logic, creating pathways that appear longer when traversed in one direction than the other. Rooms exist whose internal dimensions exceed what their external boundaries should logically contain. Staircases ascend to landings that somehow arrive at levels below their starting points. These spatial anomalies suggest that the Dwemer achieved mastery over dimensional manipulation that allowed them to create spaces governed by principles entirely divorced from natural law. The materials used in constructing these anomalous spaces possess properties that defy conventional analysis. Walls that appear solid to the touch permit the passage of certain objects while blocking others, according to criteria that remain incomprehensible to surface dwellers. Floors that support tremendous weight become permeable to specific substances while maintaining their structural integrity. Ceilings that reflect light in normal conditions become transparent when viewed from particular angles, revealing glimpses of spaces that should not exist above them. The temperature within these deepest chambers follows patterns that suggest the presence of forces operating according to principles beyond conventional thermodynamics. Certain areas maintain consistent warmth that appears to emanate from the materials themselves, rather than any visible heating source. Other sections remain perpetually cool, despite their proximity to the geothermal systems that warm the rest of Blackreach. The transitions between these temperature zones occur with mathematical precision that indicates deliberate control rather than natural variation. Moving through these spaces, visitors report experiencing temporal distortions that manifest as subjective alterations in the passage of time. Minutes spent in certain chambers feel like hours to those within them, while extended periods in other areas pass with such subjective speed that complex tasks feel completed in moments. These temporal anomalies appear strongest near the massive apparatus that dominates the central chambers, suggesting that the machinery itself generates fields that alter the local flow of time. The apparatus within these deepest chambers represents the culmination of Dwemer engineering achievement, incorporating technologies that synthesize mechanical precision with forces that operate beyond conventional understanding. These installations possess a grandeur that dwarfs even the most impressive surface monuments, with components that stretch across entire chambers while maintaining perfect geometric harmony. The purpose of these massive constructions remains mysterious, but their scale suggests capabilities that could affect reality on continental or even global scales. The power requirements for operating such installations would exceed the output of conventional energy sources by orders of magnitude, yet the Dwemer somehow solved this challenge through methods that remain largely incomprehensible. Evidence suggests they developed techniques for tapping directly into fundamental forces that underlie reality itself, creating power sources that drew energy from the basic structure of existence. The stability of these power systems indicates mastery of forces that most magical theorists consider purely theoretical. The control mechanisms for these installations demonstrate interface designs that account for capabilities exceeding normal mortal limitations. Operating stations appear designed for beings with enhanced perception, extended consciousness, or altered states of awareness that would allow interaction with systems too complex for conventional mortal comprehension. The precision required for controlling such apparatus suggests that the Dwemer themselves underwent modifications that enhanced their ability to interface directly with their most advanced technologies. The data storage systems within these chambers contain information encoded in formats that resist conventional analysis, while hinting at knowledge that encompasses subjects ranging from the fundamental structure of reality to the ultimate destiny of conscious beings. The sheer volume of information preserved within these systems indicates research programs that spanned centuries and involved the coordinated efforts of entire communities of scholars and engineers. The organization of this data suggests theoretical frameworks that unified knowledge from disciplines that surface scholars consider entirely separate fields of study. The experimental protocols documented within these storage systems reveal research methodologies that combined rigorous scientific observation with investigations into subjects that challenge the basic assumptions underlying conventional natural philosophy. The Dwemer developed techniques for studying phenomena that existed at the intersection of the physical and metaphysical, creating experimental frameworks that could generate reliable data about subjects that most scholars consider purely theoretical. The results of these investigations appear to have guided the development of technologies that operated according to principles discovered through their own research. The progression of experimental phases evident in these records indicates a research program that evolved from theoretical investigation toward practical applications of increasing scope and complexity. Early phases focused on understanding the fundamental nature of consciousness and its relationship to physical matter, while intermediate stages develop techniques for manipulating these relationships to achieve specific effects. The final documented phases suggest attempts to apply these techniques on scales that would transform entire civilizations simultaneously. The safety protocols integrated throughout these experimental facilities reveal awareness of dangers that extended far beyond immediate physical risks to encompass threats to the fundamental stability of reality itself. Emergency systems designed to contain dimensional breaches, temporal paradoxes, and consciousness fragmentation incidents indicate preparation for scenarios that could affect not only the immediate experimental area, but potentially the entire plane of existence. The sophistication of these safety measures suggests deep understanding of the catastrophic potential inherent in their most advanced research. The containment systems built into the most dangerous experimental apparatus demonstrate engineering that could isolate and neutralize forces capable of unmaking reality itself within localized areas. These systems appear designed to function automatically in response to predetermined danger thresholds, indicating operational protocols that prioritized cosmic stability over experimental advancement. The fact that these systems remain armed and operational millennia after their creator's disappearance suggests that the dangers they were designed to contain remain active and potentially catastrophic. The communication networks that link these deepest facilities with installations throughout Tamriel and potentially beyond reveal the scope of Dwemer ambitions in their final period. Evidence suggests they established coordination systems that allowed real-time collaboration between research facilities separated by continental distances, creating networks that supported research programs of unprecedented scale and complexity. The sophistication of these communication systems indicates capabilities that exceeded anything achieved by subsequent civilizations. The coordination protocols governing these research networks reveal planning that anticipated scenarios requiring simultaneous activation of installations across multiple locations. These protocols appear designed to facilitate coordinated experiments that would affect reality on scales exceeding anything achievable through individual installations operating independently. The implications of such coordinated reality manipulation for understanding the Dwemer disappearance are profound and deeply concerning. The monitoring systems that tracked the effects of these coordinated experiments reveal sophisticated understanding of the interconnections between different aspects of reality manipulation. Sensors capable of detecting alterations in dimensional stability, temporal flow, probability matrices, and consciousness coherence created monitoring networks that provided real-time assessment of experimental effects across multiple planes of existence simultaneously. The data collected by these systems indicates research that progressed toward modifications of reality itself on scales that would affect entire regions of existence. The final phases of documented research suggest that the Dwemer achieved breakthrough understanding that allowed them to contemplate alterations to the fundamental nature of existence within their sphere of influence. The apparatus designed to implement these alterations indicates capabilities that could transform entire civilizations from one state of being to another, potentially transcending the limitations that define conventional mortal existence. Whether these capabilities were successfully implemented remains one of the great mysteries surrounding the Dwemer disappearance. The evidence suggests that the final Dwemer experiments involved attempts to achieve collective transcendence that would transform their entire civilization simultaneously, rather than affecting individuals separately. The apparatus designed for such transformation indicates understanding of consciousness that treated individual awareness as components of larger collective entities that could be modified or transferred as unified wholes. The implications of successful collective consciousness transfer for understanding the fate of Dwemer civilization are staggering. The relationship between these transcendence experiments and the continued operation of Blackreach's automated systems suggests that the Dwemer may have achieved their goals in ways that allowed them to maintain connection with their original reality while existing in fundamentally altered states. The mechanical inhabitants that continue to maintain the underground realm may represent more than simple automation, potentially serving as anchors that maintain connection between the transformed Dwemer consciousness and the physical reality they originally inhabited. The preservation of the experimental apparatus in states suggesting readiness for continued operation indicates that whatever transformation the Dwemer achieved was intended to be reversible or expandable rather than final and absolute. The maintenance of these systems suggests planning that anticipated potential return to physical existence or the inclusion of additional subjects in whatever state of being they achieved. The implications of such planning for the future of Tamriel and its inhabitants remain deeply uncertain. The mysteries that surround the deepest levels of Blackreach extend beyond questions of historical curiosity to encompass fundamental issues about the nature of reality and the ultimate potential of conscious beings who push beyond conventional limitations. The Dwemer achievements preserved within these chambers demonstrate capabilities that challenge every assumption about the boundaries between the possible and the impossible, between mortal limitation and transcendent potential. The legacy of these deepest chambers serves as both testament to the heights that mortal achievement can reach and warning about the consequences of pursuing knowledge without adequate understanding of its ultimate implications. The Dwemer push beyond every boundary that had previously constrained mortal civilization, achieving breakthroughs that exceeded the dreams of their contemporaries, while potentially triggering transformations whose full consequences remain unknown. As we contemplate the implications of what the Dwemer achieved within the deepest reaches of Blackreach, we find ourselves confronting questions that extend far beyond archaeological interest to encompass the fundamental nature of existence itself. The technologies and knowledge preserved within these chambers represent achievements that could revolutionize understanding of consciousness, reality, and the ultimate destiny of intelligent beings who refuse to accept conventional limitations. The continued operation of these systems, their apparent readiness for renewed activation, and the mysteries surrounding their ultimate purpose create an atmosphere of anticipation that permeates every exploration of Blackreach's deepest secrets. Whether these systems represent abandoned experiments, preserved opportunities, or active preparations for future developments remains one of the great unresolved questions that haunts every scholar who ventures into the Dwemer's underground realm. The knowledge preserved within Blackreach's deepest chambers represents a double-edged legacy that offers unprecedented insights into the nature of reality, while raising profound questions about the wisdom of pursuing such knowledge without adequate preparation for its consequences. The Dwemer example serves as both inspiration and cautionary tale, demonstrating the incredible heights that mortal achievement can reach, while reminding us that even the greatest accomplishments carry risks that may exceed our ability to anticipate or control. In the end, Blackreach stands as perhaps the greatest monument to both the potential and the peril inherent in the pursuit of ultimate knowledge. The underground realm continues to operate according to principles established by its vanished creators, maintaining systems that preserve technologies and knowledge whose full implications remain beyond our current understanding. Whether these preserved achievements represent opportunities for advancement or warnings about the dangers of transcending conventional limitations remains a question that each generation of scholars must answer for themselves. The depths of Blackreach continue to yield new mysteries with each exploration, revealing layer upon layer of complexity that speaks to ambitions and achievements that challenge every assumption about the limitations of mortal existence. As we delve deeper into these mysteries, we find ourselves walking in the footsteps of beings who push beyond every boundary that had previously constrained conscious existence, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape our understanding of what might be possible for those bold enough to pursue the deepest secrets of reality itself. The silence that pervades these deepest chambers carries weight beyond mere absence of sound, creating an atmosphere thick with the residue of abandoned ambitions and unfinished transformations. Here, in spaces that exist at the very limits of what the Dwemer dared to explore, the air itself seems charged with potential that hovers perpetually on the edge of manifestation. Every surface bears traces of energies that operated according to principles so far removed from conventional understanding that they leave impressions detectable only through their subtle effects on reality's underlying structure. The crystalline formations that emerge from the walls in these terminal chambers possess properties that challenge every assumption about the relationship between matter and consciousness. These growths respond to the presence of observers in ways that suggest awareness, shifting their internal patterns and luminosity in response to the thoughts and emotions of those who approach them. The mathematical precision of their geometric arrangements indicates cultivation rather than natural formation, yet their behavior suggests characteristics that transcend the boundary between living and artificial systems. The resonance that emanates from these formations creates harmonic frequencies that affect consciousness directly, inducing states of awareness that allow perception of dimensional layers normally invisible to mortal senses. Visitors report experiencing expanded awareness that reveals the chamber's true complexity, with additional spatial dimensions becoming apparent along with the presence of entities or forces that exist partially outside conventional reality. These altered states of perception provide glimpses of the theoretical frameworks that guided the Dwemer's most advanced research, while demonstrating the practical applications they developed from their discoveries. The apparatus that surrounds these crystalline formations represents the ultimate synthesis of Dwemer technological achievement, incorporating elements that function as much through consciousness manipulation as through conventional mechanical operation. These installations appear designed to interface directly with enhanced states of awareness, requiring operators whose consciousness had been expanded beyond normal mortal limitations. The precision and complexity of these interfaces suggests that the Dwemer themselves underwent fundamental transformations that allowed them to perceive and manipulate forces that remain largely theoretical to contemporary scholars. The energy signatures emanating from this final apparatus indicate power sources that draw directly from the fundamental forces that maintain reality's structural integrity. These systems operate by accessing and redirecting the basic energies that hold existence together, creating capabilities that could theoretically reshape reality according to the operator's will and understanding. The stability of these power sources across millennia demonstrates mastery of forces that most magical theorists consider purely hypothetical, while revealing the true scope of Dwemer ambitions in their final period. The control systems integrated into this ultimate apparatus demonstrate interface designs that account for consciousness expanded beyond individual limitations toward collective awareness that could encompass entire civilizations simultaneously. The operating stations appear designed for beings whose awareness had transcended personal identity to embrace universal perspectives that could comprehend and direct changes affecting reality on cosmic scales. The implications of such expanded consciousness for understanding the final fate of Dwemer civilization provide the most compelling explanation for their mysterious disappearance. The final chamber of Blackreach contains apparatus whose purpose becomes clear only when viewed in the context of collective transcendence rather than individual transformation. Here, the Dwemer created systems capable of facilitating the simultaneous translation of entire populations from conventional physical existence into states of being that transcended the limitations imposed by material reality. The scale and sophistication of these systems indicate preparation for transformation that would affect their entire civilization as a unified entity rather than affecting individuals separately. The evidence suggests that the Dwemer achieved their ultimate goal through voluntary collective transcendence that allowed them to exist as unified consciousness while maintaining connection to the physical reality they originally inhabited. The automated systems that continue to operate throughout Blackreach serve as anchors that preserve this connection. maintaining the infrastructure necessary for potential return, while protecting the knowledge and technologies they developed. The mechanical inhabitants that tend these systems may represent more than simple automation, potentially serving as vessels through which the transcended Dwemer consciousness maintains interaction with physical reality. The preservation of all systems in states of perfect readiness suggests planning that anticipated scenarios requiring renewed interaction with the material plane or the inclusion of additional subjects in their transcended state of existence. The continued operation of the experimental apparatus indicates that whatever transformation they achieved was designed to be expandable rather than final, creating possibilities for other civilizations to follow the path they pioneered. Whether such expansion would represent opportunity or catastrophe remains one of the great unresolved questions surrounding their legacy. The implications of successful collective consciousness transcendence extend far beyond historical curiosity to encompass fundamental questions about the ultimate destiny of all intelligent beings who pursue knowledge beyond conventional limitations. The Dwemer example demonstrates that the boundaries between possible and impossible may be more permeable than traditionally assumed, while raising profound questions about the wisdom of transcending the limitations that define mortal existence. Their achievement serves as both inspiration and warning, revealing potentials that could revolutionize understanding of consciousness, while demonstrating consequences that extend far beyond immediate participants. In the deepest silence of Blackreach's final chamber, surrounded by apparatus that embodies the culmination of mortal ambition and achievement, we find ourselves confronting the ultimate mystery of existence itself. The Dwemer pushed beyond every boundary that had previously constrained conscious beings, achieving transcendence that allowed them to exist beyond the limitations of individual mortality, while maintaining connection to the reality they transformed. Their legacy preserved within this underground realm continues to operate according to principles they established, maintaining systems whose full implications remain beyond our current comprehension. The knowledge and technologies preserved within Blackreach represent achievements that could fundamentally alter the course of civilization, while carrying risks that may exceed our ability to anticipate or control. As we stand at the threshold of understanding what the Dwemer accomplished, we must decide whether to pursue the path they pioneered, or to learn from their example the importance of accepting the limitations that define our existence. The choice we make will determine not only our own fate, but potentially the destiny of all conscious beings who come after us. The chambers fall silent once more, their secrets preserved within systems that continue their eternal vigil, waiting for the moment when another civilization will prove ready to confront the ultimate questions of existence and transcendence. Until that time arrives, Blackreach remains as the Dwemer left it, a monument to the heights that mortal achievement can reach, and a testament to the courage required to push beyond every boundary that constrains our understanding of what it means to truly exist.